All right, so welcome everyone. This practice is really kind of dedicated in two ways. So it kind of has two themes, right? It has a theme of some very intentional cueing of the koshas, just because that's our didactic start this morning. But it is also very much dedicated to opening ourselves up to experience. And to me, that's a really appropriate theme for a teacher training because there's so much new stuff that's headed your way, and there's so much information, there's so many experiences. And so becoming open to sitting with the uncertainty of that, the excitement of that, the fear of that can be really, really helpful. And so it will be that kind of practice where there will be some challenge that you can then explore and decide how deeply you want to let yourself sink into it. So have both of those themes in your mind as we embark on the practice. Sort of your teacher lens maybe listens a little bit to the cueing around the koshas, and your student self can just sort of sink into welcoming and opening yourself up to the experience. And if you can't hold both of those, which I know is really, really hard, I'd rather you sink into the experience as a student, because we will get to the cueing later. But if some part of you can do the second piece of it, of listening with a teacher's ear, then by all means do that as well. But don't feel forced to go in both directions. So from here, I invite you to find a comfortable seat for our opening centering. You could take a hero's pose where your sits bones are on a block, or I'm in Sukhasana this morning where I have one foot in front of the other. Let me scoot back a little bit so you can see that maybe a little bit better. But you could really choose any sort of seat. You could even be on a chair or on a yoga ball. If your knees have a really, really hard time reaching the ground, if you're in anything like Sukhasana or half lotus or whatever, rather than propping the knees, prop your sits bones so that you lift your hips high enough so that the knees can actually ground. This gives you a bigger base into the earth beneath you and a little bit more openness to experience the shape in your body. So, all right, once you have settled into a seat, make a choice about how you would like to place your hands this morning. You might choose to place your hands on your thighs, palms down for a bit of drawing inward, or you could have your hands facing palm up for an opening to being inspired. You could even have your hands at your heart to begin with, to bring compassion and kindness into the practice. So be discerning about how you place your hands, and maybe also stay attuned to whether at any point during the opening centering you would like to change that hand placement, and that's totally okay. And then I invite you to make a conscious choice about how you would like to place your eyes this morning, whether to gently close them or to hold a very soft gaze on a point on the floor in front of you. And then invite all of these decisions to settle into your nervous system, knowing that you do not have to rigidly adhere to the decision you made in this moment, that you can let that decision change as long as you do it mindfully and with intention. From here, invite your intention into your physical body to meet your Manomaya Kosha this morning, to meet your body in whatever way it shows up on the mat today. Tuning into your body, into your physical presence without any particular expectations for what should or shouldn't be there. Just gathering yourself into your body and noticing from the inside out what is showing up. Sit with your body with curiosity and with an open heart and open mind. Receiving the experience of your physical being just as it is in this moment, while understanding that it is a collection of many moments, a reflection of perhaps how you slept last night, what you ate this morning, a reflection perhaps of experiences you've had in your body over your lifetime. A reflection perhaps of your learnings about what it means to have a body from your culture, your society, even your politics. As you sense into your physical experience from the inside out. Staying connected to your somatic consciousness, begin to notice the energy in your body, the way the breath is moving in and out in this moment. As you gather your attention very gently into your Manomaya Kosha, this layer of consciousness connected to your vitality, your breath, your life force. Be fully present with this energy, this flow of breath as it unfolds in this morning. No expectations, just curiosity, an open heart, and an open mind. The energy, the breath that is with you in this moment is just that. It is whatever meets you energetically right here and right now. And yet it carries within it many moments that came before this one. It too might reflect how you're responding to the kind of night you had, the kind of food you ate, or maybe even the kind of stress you had over the course of your work week. Or it may reflect an energy that is more ancient, more long-standing, an energy that's been with you for many years, for a lifetime. Meet this energy of this moment in all of its complexity, open-heartedly, compassionately, lovingly. And staying very connected to your somatic consciousness and this vital consciousness. Gather yourself into your Manomaya Kosha as you begin to notice your mind state this morning. Maybe noticing if you feel distracted or a little chaotic, or very present and focused. Again, no expectations, no judgment, just an open heart and an open mind about how your Manomaya Kosha, this mental layer of your consciousness, is showing up in this moment. What is present in your mind right here, right now, in terms of thoughts and emotions? Perhaps plans or remembrances or little judgments or worries. Just noticing in this moment what is present. And honoring that what is present in this moment may be a reflection of prior moments. Maybe a lingering with dreams you had last night, or learnings of yesterday. Moments of remembrance. Moments of a lifetime of shaping your beliefs and your opinions. Maybe even moments of the future. Not of dreams you had last night, but dreams that you have for tomorrow. Not pursuing any of this, but just noticing with great consciousness what your mind in this moment carries with it. Staying connected to your somatic experience, your vital experience, your mental and emotional experience. Become aware of this part of you that is watching all of this, the part of you that is gathering you into this moment, into the present. And meet in this moment your Manomaya Kosha, your wise, intuitive self. That layer of you that always tracks, that's always present, taking a vaster, larger perspective on you, on your moments, on your relationships, on the world, on your communities, their moments, their needs, their relationships. And sense into this profound connection that you have in all of your layers, to all of these moments, to all of these relationships that have led you right here, right now. There may even be a sense of joy as you realize that this moment right here, right now, that is so unique to your experience, also is utterly connecting you to everything there is. There may be a sense of joy coming from your Anandamaya Kosha, that you are always held, you are always connected. Even in the greatest moments of loneliness, independence, strength, or need, you're always rooted in your community. You are always expanding outward, reverberating yourself into your relationships and into your world. From this sense of connection, I invite you to take a moment, perhaps your hands at your heart or in any other place, to bow your head to your own heart, to invite an intention for your time on the mat today. I invite you to greet whatever emerges, however subtle or tangible, however verbal, transverbal, or nonverbal. See if you can meet and greet this experience, this intention. And notice if you would like to commit yourself to that intention by sealing it into your heart with an inhalation. And sending it out into your world with an exhalation. And then gently release your hands, open your eyes if they were closed, and lift your gaze if it was lowered. And from here, I invite you to change your seat in just the slightest way. Like if you had one foot in front of the other, maybe switch the foot around. If you were in hero's pose, maybe come into sweet seat. If you were in sweet seat, maybe switch to hero's pose. We're going to be in a bit of a seat for just a little bit longer as we breathe and move for a few moments in a little kriya where you sort of stir the pot of experience. So you'll start going in a clockwise direction, and you'll bow in sort of a slight twist to one side, and then stir your pot of experience by drawing circles with your body. And of course, you get to decide how big your circles are, how fast you're moving, how you would like to have your eyes open, closed, soft gaze. As you slowly breathe and move in a deliberate pattern of your choice, maybe inhaling as you come forward, exhaling as you come back, or maybe a full cycle of either of just an inhalation for one turn and then just an exhalation for another turn, but find the pattern and gather yourself into that pattern of breath and movement. Let this emerge from the inside out. Invite your body to move you rather than you moving your body. Inviting the movement to emerge from this greater wisdom you have from your Manomaya Kosha, from your deep intuitive knowing of what your body might need in this moment, what matches your energy or what balances your energy. And what might captivate into your mind into a soft, gentle focus. After just one more circle in the clockwise direction, I invite you to change directions. Moving now counterclockwise. mindful of how this might change the experience in your body, in your energy. Gathering your mind, your breath, your body into the movement. You can play with shifting patterns of breath and movement, shifting speed, or if you're happy and content with how this is unfolding, just keep going for a few more circles. Stirring the pot of your experience. After a couple more circles, I invite you to gently come to a stop and to take a moment, perhaps even closing your eyes, to sense the reverberations of this very gentle Kriya. Sensing into your body, sensing into your energy and your breath. Noticing your mind. If you feel the urge here to lean forward, to rest your head, you could do that, but there's no requirement. You can also simply sit still as you are. 2 more rounds of breath. And if you did lean forward, gently bring yourself back up. And if you were sitting on a blanket, you might want to actually keep that for your knees in a bit of a tabletop movement. If you were sitting on a block, you might want to remove that and grab a blanket. Or if you're happy in tabletop without anything under the knees, that's great too. Have your blocks handy, one on each end of the mat. So one at the bottom of the mat and one at the top of the mat. That way you don't have to scramble for them. If you have two, if you only have one, that's okay. And then find your way into a tabletop position. And using your inner experience of your body to make decisions about where you'll place your hands. Maybe if you need relief in the wrists, placing them ahead of the shoulders or on a blanket. But sensing into your body from the inside out to make discerning choices about how you would like to be in tabletop this morning. And then again, from the inside out, find your natural spine here. For me, sometimes it helps to go to the extremes, to tilt my pelvis forward a little bit and almost like a mini cat-cow until I sort of find that Goldilocks spot for my pelvis. That tells me, oh yeah, here's my lumbar curve, here's my cervical curve. My shoulder blades are gathered onto my back. And so see if you can sense your body here from the inside out in this natural arrangement and begin to notice your breathing as you're holding your tabletop very steady here. And once you have found the rhythm of your breath, let the breath guide you into a few cows and cats. Perhaps inhaling into cow and exhaling into cat. Unless the opposite rhythm feels better for you. And gather yourself into this experience. Be open to it. You could even close your eyes to sense the experience from the inside out. No preconceived notions about how this should feel based on memories from the past, nor based on hopes for how it should go, but just being present. How is your body flowing? And notice how your mind meets this invitation. And trusting the flow to your own wisdom of what serves your body and your energy and your mind here. After your next cat, remain in your neutral shape where we will all meet. Gather yourself into your core, meet your experience in your body, and then very gently begin to lift and lower out to the side in a fire hydrant way your left leg. Notice if you're intuitively moving with the breath. Meeting sensations in your hip here. Meeting demands from your mind as to how this should or shouldn't unfold. This looks like such an easy thing, but it is so hard for so many of us if we have tight hip joints. See if you can actually hold your pelvis relatively steady so that you're not making a twisting motion like this, but you're really just moving in the hip like this. So not lifting the pelvis, but just the leg. Different level of challenge. Yeah. And then go ahead and keep that leg slightly lifted and draw some circles with your knee. And explore from the inside out the sensations that this brings into your body and into your energy, and the stories this might stir up. I guess stirring is my theme for the day today. So now we're stirring with our knee rather than our whole body, and then switch it up and change directions of the circles. And then lower the knee down. And try the other side, starting with the fire hydrants, lifting and lowering the right leg now. Yeah, if your wrists are sensitive, you can always come to the forearms. And if that's too low, you could grab your block and bring the forearms onto the block and then take the movement from here. That might be a very compassionate way of working for a while. Many of us have very sensitive wrists from all of the strange computer work we do all day long. So we didn't exactly evolve with that. And gather yourself into this experience of lifting and lowering. That right knee trying to hold the pelvis pretty steady to bring the movement into the hip joint, into this place where in the esoteric yoga tradition, we hold a lot of emotion. And so we really are stirring things up this morning. And so go ahead and do that now. Make circles with your right knee, stirring, the pot of your physical experience, stirring perhaps your energy here just a bit, and maybe even stirring up some mind stories. Switching directions. And releasing that knee down. I invite you now to sense from the inside what you would like to do next in this tabletop. Is there a sense that, ooh, some cats and cows would feel good, or more of a sense of no, or a little bit of a rest in child's pose? Just notice what's showing up for you, having stirred up your hips and your emotions. Ooh, I just noticed what I want. I want circles with my whole pelvis now. So just notice if something wants to emerge for you. And invite yourself into that experience wholeheartedly with your body, your breath, your mind, maybe even a sense of joy that there was this inner wisdom that guided you into something very uniquely you. And then gather yourself back into your tabletop. And then from here, pivot yourself around. So turn 90 degrees so that one knee for sure stays on the blanket, and then lift yourself up to kneeling. So that way now you have the mat this way, because what we will do is we will stretch our right leg out to the side into sort of a variation of a gate pose. And I invite you here to notice how you intuitively placed your foot. I'm not going to tell you how to place your foot here. Take note of your inner experience of this, sensing it from your body, your breath, and just notice if the foot might want to be in line with the legs, straight out to the side, or if you naturally turned it forward or maybe at an angle, and just notice and see, oh, was that intuition my most auspicious placement? Do I want to change it up? But be deliberate. And there is no right or wrong here. And it may change as we move through what we're doing here, because we're going to keep stirring the pot. And so now we're going to start with a little bit of a side bend here over that right leg. We'll take a breath here, but then we will stir now our pot with our arm. And so you'll make some really nice big circles. You could see if you would like to close your eyes here. Sensing into your breath. Noticing the state of your mind. As you stir one more time in this direction. And then come to center. Now find your block that you hopefully placed on the bottom part of your mat, and you may or may not need it, but it's there for you to have. As you then lean to the left, so the side of the body where you're kneeling, to lift the right leg into the air and the right arm up into a variation of a half moon. And now we're going to stir the pot here. And you get to decide how you keep your right leg oriented. You might notice that, ooh, it gets a little heavy after a while. But just open yourself up to the experience. Notice the feedback you're getting from the breath. That might give you some cues as to how better to balance your movements, your nervous system. Stirring just a couple more times. And the next time your arm comes back up, Maybe embrace a sort of half moon shape and then find your way back to center. And bring your right knee in. Same procedure, second side might be very different. The procedure may be the same, but the experience may be very different. So go ahead and ground now into your right knee and intuitively bring the left leg out and see if your left foot planted in a similar way as your right foot. No expectations, no judgments, just noticing. And we'll begin by bringing the left arm up and overhead, just into a little bit of a side bend toward the straight knee. Just being with that experience for a moment. And then whenever you feel ready, you can start stirring the pot on this side. Letting this movement happen from the inside out, informed by your body, your breath, your intuition, and followed closely by your mind with curiosity. Stirring just a couple more times. And the next time you come up, gather yourself into your shape. Grab your block. You might or might not need it. Your two sides may be very different, so don't assume based on what felt better on the other side. As you move yourself into your half moon now, on the other side. Left leg lifted. And you can always stay here. You don't have to stir the pot of experience every time if you don't want to. But the invitation is there for you now to stir the pot on this side. Couple more times. And the next time you're reaching up, maybe finding your half moon and then settling back to center. You could choose to sit for a moment in hero's pose or diamond pose or whatever feels good for you. You could even choose to close your eyes for a moment to sense into what it is that you stirred up. Sense into the experience. Be curious. How is your body reflecting the practice? How is your energy or breath reflecting the experience? How is the mind digesting the experience? Watching, witnessing, embracing. Maybe with a seed of joy. If you had your hands at your heart, you might choose to lower them down. You might want to keep your blanket handy in case you will want it under your head. for Savasana later. I invite you now to come to the top of your mat. And if you'd like, you could come to a squat, but you don't have to. We're going to transition onto our backs. And so you can do this in your own way. The squat, if you do take it, just notice maybe the sensation in your hips to see if this squat is meeting you in a different way than it might sometimes. If your feet are floating, that's perfectly fine. That's just a difference in ankle joints, right, across all of us. And so floating heels are just fine here. And lowered heels are also fine. And then I invite you here to try to touch your bum to the ground without rolling backwards. So you might want to give yourself a bit of a counterweight with your arms, reaching forward as your bum is reaching toward the earth. As you sit down. Yeah, how sweet. I love it, right? It's great that you have lots of runway behind you so that when you do roll off, you have the room to do it. And then from here, find your way onto your back. Perhaps imagining your spine as a pearl necklace that you're carefully laying down one pearl at a time as you're touching down one vertebra after another. Meeting this experience with an open heart and an open mind and some curiosity about where your challenge might be here. As you patiently find your way to the floor, and then take a moment to just experience the joy of having arrived on the earth. Well, it's joyful for me. Maybe for you, you have a different experience. So whatever shows up for you, see if you can embrace it. And then gently lift your right leg up or vigorously. I cue gently way too often. You can do it vigorously if you'd like. And then turn the heel to the left so that you can place the outer ankle just above the left knee for a supine, a lying down figure 4. And you might have this urge to use your right hand here to push the right knee away, because this is often how we do figure 4 on the ground, but actually use your body strength from the inside out to draw that knee away and sort of feel the energy of expansiveness here as the knee draws away, sort of expanding you outward on this foundation of a grounded back body. You can stay here, or if you would like a little bit more challenge, just for the heck of it, you could lift the left foot off the ground and just see how this reverberates into the hips, especially the right hip. And if you want to explore beyond that, you could straighten the left leg. None of that is important. What's important is to meet the experience in body, breath, and mind that's already present. Bring as much stability into this shape by really hooking the right foot around the left knee and sort of creating a sense of resistance, isometric engagement. And then if your leg is lifted, gently bend the left knee, return that left foot to the earth. Stretch the right foot toward the sky. Feel the length in that leg. Feel the femur bone stretching out of the hip socket. And then release the foot down to the earth. Take whatever time you need in the next few seconds to neutralize yourself here and to prepare yourself physically, energetically, mentally, emotionally for the second side. And so when you're ready, you can stretch the left leg up toward the sky, finding that spaciousness in the hip joint as you then turn the heel to the right to place the outside of the left ankle just above the right knee. hooking the foot around the knee if that feels accessible and auspicious. And then from the inside, pressing that left knee away from the body, finding a spacious energy in your heart here. Perhaps really attuning to your breathing, your open heart, inviting an open mind of curiosity as you make a discerning choice about whether you would like to lift the right foot off the ground, whether you might even want to stretch that right foot up toward the sky, meeting your experience. Being present for whatever shows up in your body, in your breath, your energy, even your mind, even if there's stories, just notice them. Whenever you feel ready, you might bend that right knee if the leg was stretched, and let the foot meet the earth yet again. Stretch the left leg up toward the sky, creating space in that hip joint, and then release that leg down. Take a moment to neutralize the hips here. For me, I sometimes like to lift up into a little bridge pose and then just draw some circles, stirring that pot one more time. But maybe for you, something else emerges spontaneously that brings a sense of neutralizing. And so just notice, maybe you want windshield wipers or some twists. Just experiment and see. Once you feel as though your hips are balanced, you can release them back to the earth. Take a moment to see if there's any other movement that wants to emerge. If there's any other energy that needs to be balanced. And whenever you feel ready, I invite you to release yourself into a very deliberate Savasana position, maybe a blanket under your head, maybe a bolster under your knees, whatever would like to emerge. You could even take a supine butterfly position with blankets or blocks under the thighs to protect the adductor muscles. Just tune in to your experience and notice what you can do to create a Shavasana that truly embraces the needs and experiences of your body, your breath, and your mind. Once you feel physically and energetically settled into Shavasana, I invite you into about 5 minutes of silence. Invite your senses to begin to move outward. Perhaps noticing the sounds around you, the sunlight on your skin, the air moving. Perhaps there's an aroma in your room. And as you reconnect yourself to the outer world, gently invite the body to wiggle, move, stretch itself awake. And as the body moves intuitively, gently connect yourself to your breathing, consciously breathing in for 2 or even 3 cycles of breath. Knowing that you're inhaling while you're inhaling, and that you're exhaling while you're exhaling. Staying connected to your outer world, your body, and your breath. Invite your mind to make a plan for how you will move your body to a seat. And once you have imagined this, invite yourself to make that journey to an upright position where we will meet. I invite you to find a deliberate placement for your hands as you perhaps choose to bow your head to your own heart. Settling into your experience one more time, very consciously, open-heartedly, and open-mindedly. Greeting this moment with all of your heart, with all of your body, with all of your breath, with all of your mind. Being right here, right now, in this moment, with all of its complexity. You could reconnect to your intention or find a new one. As you take a conscious round of breath, perhaps sealing a dedication of the merit of the practice into your heart and sending it into your world. As always, thank you very much for practicing. It's a joy and a pleasure and an honor and a privilege and just